everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Geeks Review. I am Guy, and with me going around in big clock fashion is Baltimore, Kaiser, and Danny.
Woo!
And Night
Welcome
Monkey.
to a
Marvel
Spider-Man
Cinematic
PS4
Universe.
unboxing video.
Spider-Man: Far From Home. Never mind.
I can't get it open.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm sorry. I had to plug that for a second. Love, but Spider-Man: Far From Home is the third official Marvel movie that's come out so far this year. Is that correct?
That third and last.
Avengers Endgame and
Captain Marvel.
I definitely, man, he is my favorite Marvel hero, as you've probably guessed if you've been a long-time viewer. I had a lot of fun with this one. When we did our trailer trashing, I was just kind of, it's not that I don't enjoy the Marvel movies or anything like that, but it's like I feel we've gotten so many. And it's like eating sushi. Like you get 3 courses of sushi and it's all really good, but after a while it's like just a little full. It's really good. I just need to maybe just a little later, but Spidey's my jam. So yeah. I had fun, and I had a lot more fun than even I realized with this one.
Yeah.
Thoughts on it, first off?
Kaiser's like flashing. He's like,
Kaiser Flash.
I don't know, Mysterio's like throwing some serious things at him or what, but his face
I'm
is all
a
flashing.
hologram.
Bright lights
Don't
must
mind
not
me.
stare at the Kaiser.
Oh, there you go. That's nice. Yeah. So this is a great. This is the follow up to Endgame. So they were very smart about how they referenced it and how they moved forward, and it's a brand new MCU after this, after Endgame. You have the 5-year, the blip, which I thought was interestingly handled. I was never really convinced about Mysterio as the villain. I don't truly care for the character, but I thought they did a really good job. Jake did a great job. And that's right, we're staying spoiler free. I enjoyed the movie overall. I do have some quibbles with it, but I do think it was a very fun, a very interesting movie, and I thought they delved into things that they haven't before, which is kind of what we need after this is the 8th Spider-Man movie, solo movie. So there we go. And
Oh, Kaiser's all choked up because of his fondness for this movie.
It's been that awesome.
It is. Actually, I am a little choked up. Since Spider-Man, Raimi, Maguire was a thing, my dad and I had always thought the Mysterio would be the perfect cinematic villain for Spider-Man, being he is a special effects artist. And we kept hoping every time a new one was announced, like, oh, will it be Mysterio? Hopefully it'll be Mysterio. And so, unfortunately, since my dad has passed, he didn't get to see Mysterio in a Spider-Man movie. That's all he wanted to see when, the movie started. And I think I really liked Mysterio for the most part. I loved his look. They nailed his look. I think Gyllenhaal played it very well. He was a very handsome man. I never realized how handsome he was until that bubble came off. Like, oh. But in general, it's a fun high school movie, which it should be, since it is. It's they're focusing on Parker, and there's a lot of focus on the Peter Parker of the Spider-Man, and I think that's what was needed. It felt well. There was some missed humor or that just fell flat for me. I've seen other reviews. It was like, oh, these two characters were hilarious, and they weren't for me. We'll talk spoilers. But overall, highly enjoyable movie. One of my biggest gripes, both my nephew David and I both, from the Homecoming was like, where's all the web swinging and cool acrobatics and stuff? It's like, it was very void of that in Homecoming. And in this, there's some just incredible swinging moments that just made me, I was like, oh, wow, that was cool. And that's what I want when I go see a Spider-Man movie, you know?
Right.
So yeah, it checked off all the right boxes for me. Totally enjoyed the movie.
Cool. Yeah, I felt that this did seem like a fun high school going on a high schoolers going on a awesome kind of vacation movie, but let's incorporate some awesome superhero stuff into it. I love the dynamic of getting a lot of Peter Parker time and him dealing with being Peter Parker and all that, and then getting to see a lot of the Spider-Man stuff and seeing Spider-Man in a different environment, and working with some people that he hasn't had a whole lot of interaction with before, because in the previous one he was just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So he's just friendly neighborhood in another neighborhood Spider-Man right now in this movie. So I liked that. There was a lot of different dynamics. I enjoyed Mysterio. If he is a more interesting character for me, as far as a villain goes. I'm okay with the change that they kind of made with his backstory and all that, and we'll get into that in spoilers. But I thought Gyllenhaal or however you say his name, Jake Donnie Darko, as I know him. I think he did a great job with the role, and brought a lot. The suit was amazing. The effects were amazing. So I really enjoyed those, and even just seeing just some of the other students in the Parker's kind of entourage, or not really entourage, whatever, but kind of seeing a little bit more of that world, and the teachers and all that kind of stuff. So I thought it was fun overall. The action, great. It felt like a Spider-Man movie for me enough.
Yeah.
Even though it was in over in a different location, or over in Europe. It was enjoyable. So I had fun with it.
I mean, I did not expect the sequel to Bubble Boy to go this direction. I mean,
yeah, this is
Bubble harder.
on this
Whatever
thing.
bubbles up.
This is now his second bubble role. Yes,
Yeah,
That's good. That's a good one.
he's
That's
had
good.
a very interesting career. Jake.
he has had a very interesting career,
Yeah.
starting and ending inside a bubble.
That's okay. I'm gonna be thinking about that for the rest of the review. I don't know. I felt like the movie started out a little slow. Again, just after the big meal that we had from Avengers Endgame, kind of, I guess maybe just getting to something a little bit more slower and a little bit more higher stakes. It just kind of felt, but it wasn't bad. But as I said, it just took me a minute to get into it. Mysterio, that's another case of when you have hands of a good writer who understands a character and realizes what they can do and they're capable of cool things. And they did some really cool things with Mysterio.
Are we getting we're getting to spoilers, right?
Not just yet, but I think as a whole, because as he's presented in the trailers, he's out there fighting the big monsters, and so I mean, it's like, okay, they're doing some cool things with him, but if you're a Spidey fan, you know what he's got some neat tricks in his fishbowl. Things with him, and I'm so happy that as goofy as Mysterio can look, they kept the look.
Yeah.
Totally worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So spoilers?
All right, yeah, let's get.
We're not wasting any time anymore on these things.
Now let's move into spoilers.
Yeah, here it is. So we're now going to tell you all the awesome things that we saw in the movie, and if you haven't
What
seen it,
the?
then yeah,
Mysterio fight was a mind freak, and I loved it. I was
Yeah.
still happy.
yeah, the Mysterio Spider-Man, that final battle thing was just absolutely phenomenal. I felt like I was there with Spidey and being all confused
Mhm.
and wondering where, oh please, where's my Peter Tingle to help me in this?
Peter Tingle.
Yeah, the Peter Tingle.
The Peter Tingle.
I love how just silly and just how off the comment was, and just you could tell how much it's like one thing that your family, your friends say that you're like, can you please not say that? And
yeah.
then everyone does it. You're like, now it's gonna stick. Now people are gonna,
Right. Yeah. The fact that Aunt May has told Happy about
Yeah.
the whole Peter Tingle thing, and that now that's a whole conversation thing, and yeah, it's great. It opened up so much more of Aunt May for me that
Yeah.
I was
No.
like, yeah, I'm really enjoying this version of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another man's Peter Tingle. Business.
So, I want to. My biggest gripe, because we can talk about how amazing and spectacular and all that this movie is, and it is, but we get it. Iron Man. Does everything have to be tied to him? It's like,
Right.
again, it all goes back to Iron Man's the biggest villain in the MCU.
I think you mean hero on that one.
Does he?
Yeah.
He did create both of Spidey's villains, so
Yep.
Right.
and Mysterio are all thanks to Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely
But
agree.
I love. It was like the biggest love-hate moment of the movie for me. The reveal, the switch from good guy Mysterio to bad guy Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
When you see the breakdown of the bar and the whole, it was a team effort, and then you get Ralphie from Christmas Story and all the other people from these other movies and how they tied him in, like the whole barf simulator, the hologram thing being Bex. I mean, they weaved it in great. You know, as a through line, it works. Making him part of the cinematic universe's storytelling
Right.
and their story, great. Very, very clever things. And I love that. But I hated that it was all wrapped around Tony Stark. So,
Yeah.
but I get the feeling that now, like, this is the last of that.
Probably.
Because the kind of the story of him becoming himself and becoming Spider-Man and not Iron Man's friend Spider-Man seems to be a big through line in this. So I'm hoping the next one, it's really just going to be about him and what he's dealing with.
With
sure
what
he'll
they
still
did,
have
the next
access
one's
to
going to
all
be
the
crazy.
stuff.
Like you, I am over the Tony Stark centric nature of everything. I get it from, he began the franchise, the universe. I get it, but at the same time, it's like, for me, that it didn't quite work tying Mysterio into it, because for me, Mysterio is a special effects person.
Right.
Yes.
He worked in movies.
Yeah, like you could tell that they were doing the movie things, like when he was like, okay, rewind it back here, take it
Mhm.
back here. Yes, I need my suit still. Like those moments would connect if he actually was still stuntman, actor, that thing.
Right.
But when you change it to make him a scientist and all that stuff, that is a disconnect that doesn't quite work for me.
Right.
And so that was a part that just kind of like, but I did like how they connected, Stain with Christmas Story guy and, all the other characters. I enjoyed seeing the connections because it does make it more real and more, you can go back and say like, oh, wow, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man has to stand on his own two legs. He can't be just standing on top of Iron Man's shoulders anymore. And I kind of feel like I hope that's where they were, trying to end up with this at the end of this movie. Even though it's like, what are they going to do now?
Yeah.
But the fight scenes were great. I could not stand the teachers; they were just annoying, and I'm like,
That they were
unnecessary.
not funny to me.
Give one, that's it. I didn't care. It was just, I get what they were going for, but it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I've said this before in the previous Homecoming one. Cannot stand MJ. Still hasn't improved as a character to me. Big miss.
See where you're going with that. I do think she was better. I think she was
better, but
persuasive in the first film, but I think they down a little bit. So she actually, instead of snarking constantly, she'd actually be a little more level, in which I appreciated.
She's like more anti MJ MJ.
yeah.
I mean,
she's
like an MJ that
Megaverse. She's from another universe.
Yeah, she's an MJ that I've never even read of a Mary Jane like even though it's not real, it's MJ.
And just make her not even the initials, because that's an expectation. Just
Mhm.
call her Gail or call her like Barbara. I don't care. Just don't call her MJ, because there's an expectation that it's Mary Jane, even if the name is not Mary Jane.
Right.
It's not the same character. It's not the same qualities. It's a big miss. I don't.
Controversy.
I agree, and I'm not like.
I've
never been one like they change stuff from the comics stuff. I mean, I get it. They're not replicating exactly the page, and they're kind of creating their own stuff. And so I'm fine with it for the most part. But when you take a character like that, who's a very specific character, and you change what she is, but you call her the same thing, it's a miss. And it's not about ethnicity. It's not about skin color or any of that. It's about her character. And Mary Jane as a character that's not Mary Jane.
MJ. Yeah.
MJ. Sorry. Calling her MJ makes you think Mary Jane. That makes you think this. So why create that?
Yeah.
Right, because I mean we're talking that this is possibly Earth 616, right?
They threw out that reference. I was very surprised about.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that is the case, then this isn't the Earth 616 I'm used to.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So here's my other thing.
Mentioning an 8. Where did he come from?
833, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Offhand, do you happen to know which one that is, or is that been established as anything?
I'm sure it's established. I didn't actually look it up when I kept thinking about it, but yeah.
Stereo dimension for now. Hanging out.
Damn it, I lost it. I love that they call it the blip, because they wouldn't call it the snap. They weren't there for the snap. But and I would get that. Say the first year or two, people. I mean, schools would be shut down. People were dealing with this huge devastation of what happened. I guess it was weird. So when everything came back, 5 years had passed for who? The people that were still here, right?
Everybody except, I mean, the years
The
have
people who
passed, but they
blipped
were
came
still the
back
same
the
age.
same age.
Yeah,
Right,
If you were
because
People that
15 when you
stayed
left.
Because
here, age.
Correct. Yeah. So if you remember, like I enjoyed the scene where it explained like the band people were playing in the basketball arena.
Yeah.
And then when
Right.
they came back, they were like in the middle of a game, and then the band people blipped back in, and all hell broke loose and all that. So yeah.
Yeah.
So like if you're 13 and you didn't blip, but your 15-year-old brother did. Well, now you're 18 and he's 15.
Right.
Well, I was trying to
Okay.
figure out how they're all still in school together. Because
They all blipped.
They all blipped. It was magic. The magic of Marvel is that all of these characters just
Yes.
happen to blip together.
Well, but did school not still go on in those 5
School
years?
did.
Oh yeah,
It
it
did.
did. And
Yeah.
So why are they
people
still in school together?
Because they're 15.
They're
No,
still
the one guy, they're like, oh, that one guy who's older and hot now.
Chaperone or a classmate.
I
I got
had the hots for MJ.
Because he was younger. He grew up.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
like
Okay.
He
And
was
now
like
they're
13.
the same age.
yeah he
I
was
thought that he was like their age and got older, but had to come back.
No.
Okay,
no.
that makes more sense.
Okay,
He was younger.
I
Now
thought
they're
he was chaperone.
Okay, I'm done.
Bro.
I was just confused.
No. Nick Fury
I'm not talking
and
anymore right now.
Maria
Somebody
Hill.
please talk.
Okay, what about Nick Fury and Maria Hill?
So they are in this movie.
Yes.
Interestingly placed. And Mysterio's whole character, you really can't trust anything you see,
Right.
which I thought was a great, portent, to the end of the movie, the end, where we kind of get more understanding and still don't know what's happening exactly. But seeing the little, there are moments you're like, something is off. That's not quite right. They have the moment of when Peter says, "What about Captain Marvel?" Which, interestingly enough, no one's ever called her Captain Marvel in the movies before until now.
Oh, really?
And then he has "Don't invoke that name," and then you have Maria and him walking, and they say something about the Kree outposts, and you're like, So it's these little nuggets that they drop in that
Yeah.
kind of sprinkle in. And you're like, something is quite different. And it kind of sends things up for the ending.
Post credits.
Yeah, post credits. I like that they traveled outside of New York. I think we talked about this before, Guy, where we're like, we've seen 5 movies where he's in New York City. Now he's in Europe. That's different and interesting, and it kind of changes the way we kind of see Spider-Man and experience his universe, which I enjoyed. I thought the creatures were interesting, Hydro Man and Molten Man, even if they were just constructs. Thought that was all kind of fun. And, of course, it does play into Mysterio's power set, which works really well. And, like you said, Danny, that end scene on the Tower Bridge, crazy, crazy, amazing, fun. And, the best Peter Parker is or Spider-Man is the one against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Trying just to figure out how he can, make it work, which I really, which makes him amazing and spectacular. And that's what we want to see.
Right, exactly. That's the thing that I've been wanting to see about these, and even like the previous iterations of Spider-Man in the cinematic style is that we haven't seen the true brilliance and just how smart this kid is. I mean, Peter Parker is right there with Reed Richards and Tony Stark and some of the other great Marvel minds, scientific minds.
Yeah.
He's just younger, and and so he's they'll just, oh, it's the kid, that kind of thing. But he's so freaking smart, and so you have the balance of both brawn and agility and superpowers and everything, and then great brain and being able to think creatively about how to get yourself out of situations if you can't rely on your powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I love that, and I really hope they move forward more with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
am glad that they're getting rid of some of the old man tropes, the frail aunt, I gotta make rent. Oh, I mean, he's always gonna have girl problems, and I hope they keep that one. That's just kind of
Yeah.
just like they're actually letting him be. I mean, he saved the world now. He's probably saved the universe now after, and you know, being able to see him benefit from that just a little bit
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
instead of just going right back to fulfill the status quo again.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like, Mysterio's question to him, what do you want?
Yeah.
Want to kiss the girl. I want to, and that makes it very tangible and very real, juxtaposing against saving the world from these, creatures. I just want to get the girl. And that's very relatable. I just want, and it really brings the, the tension and the great power, great responsibility situation moving through, which is great.
Right.
On the responsibility moment, I do feel we've really lost Uncle Ben. We, as we've seen, 5 previous films before, we know the story, but here it feels like Iron Man's taking that place, and I'm not super okay with that.
Right.
I feel like we need at least some sort of acknowledgement. You just see the suitcase.
The suitcase.
That's
That's it.
And that's I feel is sort of a missed opportunity with the new iteration. At least just have something more acknowledgement, more kind of passing, because
But an aside would be nice. Flashback, but an aside would be nice.
Yeah, like we assume that his origin is still the same as we've all seen, so that kind of impact should still carry forth for him. That's his through line. I just think.
I mean, they could have easily given him a heart-to-heart, brief conversation with Aunt May. It's like, look, I don't know what's going on with you and Happy, and it's like, bring up Uncle Ben, and she could, there could be an awkward, kind of funny but heartfelt look. I still miss him, but Happy's making me happy right now, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something. I know he was busy off trying to get the girl and save the world, but he was talking to Aunt May on the phone. He could have had just a brief, something, a nod to acknowledge that there was an Uncle Ben that was lost. We don't need to hear the story. We all know the story.
Right, exactly. Just something. Give me something.
Yeah.
Something more than an Easter egg. Oh, did you see the name on the bag?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. And then we finally get to see Spider-Man swinging through the city. He's been in New York. What is this? 5 films that he's 2 Avengers and Civil War. This is the first time we actually see him flipping through the city. Which is, I feel we've earned that finally to see.
Which is funny
And
because
it felt
it
very
really,
much like this. If you've played this or watched any footage of this, it had the same vibe, just that fun of taking pictures and selfies as you're swinging through the city. It was a great after credits moment.
Yeah.
I talked to you guys about this, but that whole swinging scene really invoked the feel of the early Sam Raimi feels, but little did I know how close they were going to get to that feeling, because there was a certain scene where I just absolutely the one.
Yeah.
Well, we're in spoiler territory.
Yeah.
So
Go for it.
it was cool because the whole lead up Mysterio was like, I'm done with you. No, I'm just kidding. Bam. No, I'm done with you now. No, I'm just kidding. Bam. And it kept going, and yet another Marvel villain, which I think they could have had some potential with Mysterio, especially for his Sinister Six thing, but here we are. Mysterio had one hell of an out
Yes.
trick. better to deliver that than J. Jonah Jameson Simmons from the Raimi films. And from what I read, it was like, we don't want anyone else for this character except, and the guy nailed in those 3 films. Down, he was a pitch perfect Jameson, and when I saw him again, I was just so happy.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like because they kept that for the mid credit scene, right? Yeah. So with the whole reveal at the end and everything, and I was just like waiting for like newspapers or some type of thing to slam down, and then just a little bit of, and I was like, where is JJ? I need him. And it was like, that was like when the movie was done and the credits were starting to roll, I was like, I'm missing one little thing for this to be great. One little thing. And I didn't know. I knew that there was going to be some mid-credit, post-credit stuff, but I didn't know what. And then when that came on, I was like, yes. All right, cool. They nailed it. That's freaking awesome. But then then immediately my gears start grinding. I'm like, but this opens up so much because he was in this universe. And I'm like, what's going on here? So, yeah.
I hope in this universe, in this iteration, he can still keep getting his pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like the InfoWars style that the Bugle is in.
Right.
I am glad to see him back because he is JJJ for all intents and purposes. And then the reveal is, jaw dropping. Although every single person in Spider-Man's orbit already knows his secret, so it's not really like.
Yeah, he's pretty casual about that.
But it does really kind of open up. Okay, now what's next? Where are we going from here?
Right.
And this kind of like kicks off the next phase of Marvel movies for the most part. We have
Do you think they'll lead it? Do you think this will lead into like a Civil War 2?
I don't know if it's going to be necessarily Civil War. It feels more Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Element, especially with the end post-credits scene.
Yeah.
Which I guess now we can talk about, Guy.
The last credit scene was Fury in space, Skrull ship no less. So that's going to be a whole. Fury's having a nice pseudo beach vacation up there, so that's going to be a whole. Yeah, I'm just up a lot of new stuff, a lot of new chapters. Let's see if I'm right in a couple years with one prediction. I'm thinking that with being outed the way he has, and everyone knows he's Peter, he's probably going to be hunted by a lot of people. Logical
Hopefully
villain
Kraven.
Spider-Man would be Kraven.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we've already seen his brother, right? The bearded guy with the hair who was the bus driver.
Oh,
Chameleon.
Yeah.
Without the name.
Right.
But yeah. No. But we see that Nick Fury and Maria Hill are replaced by Skrulls. Talos and his wife from Captain Marvel.
Right.
Which is interesting and fascinating how they're back on Earth, how long have they been back on Earth. The directors have said the Nick Fury at the end of Endgame is the real Nick Fury.
Okay.
So in between Endgame and Far From Home, he went on vacation or was replaced. We don't know the ins and outs. It feels like he's there voluntarily. But that
It feels like he is.
Yeah, because
Or it
he
felt
was,
like he is.
he was trying to figure out where his shoes are. He's trying to order. He basically ordered somebody around go get his shoes.
Yeah.
So that's not. That doesn't feel like a prisoner type of thing.
Right.
Feet are cold, and that's torture.
Which it's interesting that I don't know, Baltimore, if you thought if like that started grinding your mind about it, with Fury being off world, the man on the wall.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I feel like what they're going with.
I feel like, I mean, with a lot of MCU movies, they take a lot from different, they pick and choose elements from storylines. Like Age of Ultron, completely different in the comics than it is in the movie.
Right.
Civil War, a little different. So they pick little stories, tidbits, and then incorporate them fantastically pretty well into the MCU. So I feel like we're gonna get like a Secret Invasion, Fear itself, original sin type of moving forward.
Mhm.
Whole thing of Beck claiming that he's from another universe, which wasn't true, but multiverse, and considering how well Into the Spider-Verse did, I mean, that leads into a possibility of, and Sony seems like they're playing nice with Marvel Disney. I mean, that leads into the possibility you could get Spider-Gwen, you could get Miles Morales, him. At this point, you could get really wacky, and maybe you don't have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, but you have a
Iron Lad, yeah,
man who is a Tony Stark, but not Robert Downey Jr.
that's true. Well, and then Ancient One, even in I think in Endgame, but maybe in Doctor Strange, already confirmed that the multiverse exists.
Yeah, she did. She did in the Doctor
So
Strange movie. Yes.
yeah, so even though Quentin Mysterio was lying, we do kind of have it confirmed.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, but all right. So I have a super big question for you. You must all answer. This is the question. There have been 3 Spider-Man 2s. You must tell me your favorite Spider-Man 2 to your least favorite. Here we go. Danny, you're up first.
I'm gonna say this is Far From Home is probably my favorite Spider-Man 2, and I'm gonna say the Andrew Garfield one was probably my least favorite
Okay.
because that
Gotcha.
one that had Electro in it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't like how that went down. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that's mine.
Kaiser.
Electro.
Uh, I would. I actually was thinking about this, and I would easily. Raimi's 2 is still my top, and then Far From Home, and I don't. I just those 2. And I'm even gonna put the other one doesn't exist.
All right. Guy.
I think the Raimi 2 Spider-Man is still my favorite too, just because I had such a good experience. The movie was great, but I had such a good experience all around with that when I went to see it. I think that just kind of really just. I think Far From Home is my middle, and one is my last. Although I did like the costume style better in that one than Amazing
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
For me, Raimi Spider-Man 2 is peak Spider-Man. Like that's for me, you really can't get better than that movie. Then you have Far From Home, and then way down is Amazing Spider-Man 2. And I say that when I actually like Garfield's Spider-Man pretty much better than
Maguire.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think we're kind of all feeling a little bit similar.
So what was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2? What was the plot and all that made
Doc
it so
Ock.
great?
He gave up his powers for a few minutes.
What? Knock
Yeah,
off?
that was basically his Spider-Man No More.
Yeah.
And then
See, I don't remember it that well. Who was the villain?
Doc Ock.
Doc Ock.
Alfred Molina.
Alfred Molina played Doctor Octopus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. Okay.
You need to watch it again if you're having trouble remembering
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I don't. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't enjoy those as near as much as you guys did. I like Sam Raimi and stuff, but I don't like Tobey Maguire all that much.
I agree, though. I
He just
Yeah.
that was the tough part for me for it. So.
Maybe we should deep fake Tom Holland in the Raimi films
Okay.
for that.
Just reshoot it.
Just deep fake him. All you gotta do is just, it's just his
Yeah,
head.
it's just that.
it's true.
Re-
That's
record
true.
the
Tom
dialogue.
Holland. There you
You
go.
gotta do the
Thumbs up.
voice too, right?
Mm-mm. There you go. All right.
All right, internet, you have a job. Take Raimi Spider-Man 2, put
Holland.
Tom
Tom
Holland.
Holland's in it.
Already doing that with Jim Carrey and The Shining right now. Those are creepy.
What?
The Jim Carrey superimposing over Jack Nicholson in The Shining. There's a couple videos out there.
I haven't seen any of that
And
yet.
there's a story right there.
No, man.
Well, let's contact those people.
But
Yeah.
and
They
that
know what they're doing.
Spider-Man Far From Home was near and dear to my heart, especially with that awesome cliffhanger, game-changing midpoint spoiler. I think that was easily one of my most favorite spoilers. It was good times. Marvel makes a good movie that's consistent, and when you get in, fine. So it's one of those. That is it for Total Geek Live Geeks Review, and as always, it is all. Take care of you guys.
Whip.
Kids, don't forget to floss.